Hello and welcome back to video number 4 of my Europa Universalis Paradox Interactive Historical Playthrough Mega Series. England to America, playing as the historical precursors of the United States of America, by way of it being a British colony. This is video number 4. I'm Admiral Jedi. Now, this video we should be able to break down into 3 convenient segments. But before we do that, I want to introduce 2 new research materials that I'll be using, in addition to my standard Googling and Wikipediaing. So I'm going to put these up here for you to take a look at. We'll put them over good old Spanish Louisiana there. The first is The Glorious Cause, The American Revolution, 1763 to 1789, by Robert Middlekauff. So that's a huge book, which I've read through once, but I'll be reading through again. And then the second research material is the third in Sir Winston Churchill's A History of the English-Speaking Peoples, Volume 3, The Age of Revolution. So I'm going to be using those 2 books as research, can't say that word, materials. So let's talk about what the 3 segments of the video are going to be like. The first segment is going to be historical cleanup. This usually happens. And I'm going to do my best to clean up some historical messes that are inaccurate. The Ottomans are all but gone, which is really a tragedy for 2 reasons. One, they were my first Europa EU4 historical playthrough. They should have been around. This Russian Anatolia garbage is nonsense. This wouldn't have happened if I was in control. Just letting you know. Anyway, Russia shouldn't be this big. Denmark shouldn't go this far north. I think Brandenburg's looking good to form Prussia at this point. Austria, I don't know what this Nitra is, but it should be really an Austria-Hungary at this point. I think Venice is a little bit too big. One of the historical accuracies at this point is that France is in ascendancy. So that France is going to play a potentially large part of this video, as it should have historically been. What is historically inaccurate is how powerful Spain still is. So that's a little bit wonky, and they and their junior partners go way out here. France is way too far. Everything's all messed up. It's complete map gore at this point. And the colonies, as I pointed out in video 3, are also too big. So here's how we're going to play this. In reality, France should have occupied huge spaces. Okay, this entire Canadian area, all the way down, including the Mississippi. There's a reason that French is spoken in Louisiana, in New Orleans, right? Because it used to be owned by France. And in theory, that should be handed over to Great Britain at a certain point, possibly this time around. So we're kind of in a pickle here. What I'll be doing is basically trying to wipe Vinland off the map, because perhaps not this early, but Great Britain should own all these segments of Canada. And we were able to put Newfoundland together as a colony, as a colonial nation, but we should own the rest of this. So we're going to be doing a lot of battle with them. That's one thing that we're going to be doing. Okay, the second thing that we're going to be focusing on is our expansion into the east. So Britain's empire doesn't really take a whole, it doesn't really occupy large portions of the Indian subcontinent until like the late early 1800s. And that is from whence the saying that the sun never sets on the British Empire, because basically they had territories all the way in the east and all the way in the west. Now, I have begun taking the Cape from Portugal, and I think we're going to swing that around to form all of the Cape of Good Hope, or South America or South Africa. Again, I think we're a little ahead of time on that one. And then I'm going to go ahead and pick on these guys probably sooner than later, because they don't have any allies. And so if I go after them, I should be able to imperialize them pretty quickly and get my foot in the door on the Indian subcontinent. And then the third and final segment is, of course, the entire purpose of this whole series, which is to make it to America. Now, we're here as a colony, but what we're going to do is provoke the American Revolution. And I think what I'm going to do is to... Oh, wow, they're high already. I didn't realize that. Okay. That's good. Good-ish. Basically, the moment that America declares war for independence, I'm going to switch, and I'll show you that. We're going to basically just restart over again using the War for American Independence scenario as our start point, whatever that is, 1775, 1776. And then all the map gore should get cleaned up. That's why I haven't obsessed over it too badly. So those are the three things we're going to do. Let us get started with conquering Vinland. Let's take a look around. I just got finished taking Ceylon. Or, I think this is Ceylon, right? Maybe I got that wrong. Whatever this place is here, North Lanka. So is that Sri Lanka? Alright, I should really look that up. But anyway, let's keep going. So, I've been trying to press in on India. This is rough, and I really feel like I've screwed this whole game up, actually, unfortunately, by just letting things get out of hand. Russia's too big. The Ottomans are gone. They were powerful in the beginning, of course, like they always are, but now they're just completely gone. Now they're Turkey, like, boop, little spots here. And, you know, they just kind of held the balance. So I kind of whined about that a little bit earlier. So I can move in on India. We'll do that. I did get a lot of Canada taken, like we talked about. I'm going to go in on the remainder of Vinland here and get this all wrapped up under me. Now, I did get to complete this mission here for East Indies Company. Okay. And so we are going to do that. Let the company take control over our Indian affairs, which is exactly what historically happened. Is really the East India Company completely took over here. Releases East India Company in India. Releases... Oh. Gains a permanent claim. Okay, so really it's... Do we want them to be able to kind of do things themselves? We're going to go ahead and say yes, actually, to that. Mirroring history as best as we could. And really, the East India Company was an English company, but they really had almost entire autonomy. They had their own army and all sorts of stuff. So here it's owned by East India Company. Let's see what status they are of ours. What are they? Transferring trade power. Okay, commercial enterprise. So they're not a junior partner. But, yeah, there you go. And can we ally with them? No. They're okay, so they're a subject. Are they a subject? Let's see. They are. Okay, that's good news. They don't like... Oh, now they like us. Okay, so I was surprised at this one. I kind of got lucky here for a couple reasons. First of all, the Bahmanis were engaged in war with Delhi. And so they were up, they were down. They have way superior forces to me. Well, okay, not now, but... so that worked out pretty well. But it was really kind of an accident. I almost threw in the towel on this and just basically said, okay, let's go ahead and focus on the American Revolution. Another thing that's happening, which is historically accurate, however, it's 50 years too soon, is the French Revolution has started. And so that's kind of a bummer. We were going to possibly look at war with France, and let's dig in on that and talk about that for just a minute. Now, why this was meaningful in this time, France was on the ascendance. Louis XIV, the Sun King, was arguably the most powerful monarch in all of Europe, easily. And he was kind of setting the rules. And so, as I pointed out earlier, there were French colonies. This area was New France, this whole area. And there was conflict between the British colonies, me, and the French colonies, New France. And each side basically tried to get the local Indian tribes on their side and had kind of they would be skirmishing with each other. Well, then, when France was engaged by, I think it was Britain, Holland, and Savoy. Now, Savoy doesn't even exist anymore. To fight against them. It was called like the Triple Alliance or the Grand Alliance or something like that, under I think under William the Orange, who would be in power right now, William of Orange. That what happened is their proxies were fighting against each other as well. Their colonies were fighting alongside the same time that the main European continental powers were fighting. And this led to a significant expense and a lot of debt on behalf of Britain in the 13 colonies. And this then, in turn, led to Britain to not only from a standpoint of economic bankruptcy, although we're not simulating that at all. I am straight bawling, economically speaking, but hey, whatever. None of the rest of this is going to plan, so at least I'm going to have money. But because Britain went into debt, they wanted to collect what they perceived as the money that the colonies, quote-unquote, owed them. This is sort of classic American history. And they began doing all sorts of things to basically squeeze the money out of the colonies. And we can go ahead and do a little bit of that right now. So the first thing that we'll do to directly mimic historical conditions is increase tariffs. So somewhere our tariffs are in here, right? Okay, it's probably here. Tariff efficiency is 14. Tariff rate is 10%. All right, so let's go ahead and spend some money. And the goal is to really amp up their liberty desire, right? So we'll hit them with, we'll get them back up there with some heavy tariffs. And we're going to push that until they revolt. I'm going to try to get as close to 1775 as I possibly can. But if they revolt sooner than that, we're going to switch over scenarios. So that's really what we're going to do for the rest of this video. I might engage with France. Do they even have allies anymore? They're still allied with Venice. So this would be a rough war against them. Austria's not interested in participating. Probably because they're super weak. And what's going on? Let's see, Austria's engaging them, but I'm pretty sure they're my ally. Why did they not call me in? Yeah, guys, you should have called me in. I would have... I think it's too late. Alright, well, we'll go figure this out and try and help Austria out here if we can. Getting a little bit closer here. Revolutionary France has entered into a treaty of support for independence with our disloyal subject, the 13 colonies. Now, that is super historically accurate. And they declared war on us. What for? That's not historically accurate. Okay, anyway, I'll deal with this in just a minute. But that is historically accurate in that France was a key member in support of the American colonies' bid for independence. In fact, this moment is what made me want to do these historical playthrough series, because I was playing as France, and I may have told this story once before, and I practically cry every time I tell this story because I'm a weirdo, I'm a loser. And all of a sudden, I get this request from the 13 colonies that's like, will you, France, support our bid for independence? And I was like, this is so historically accurate and amazing. It's wonderful. Yes, yes, I'll support you. I'll support you. And that was when I decided to geek out and try and do my my videos here. So anyway, I'm going to have to fight off revolutionary France, which is not historically accurate at 1733. It doesn't happen until 1789. I'm going to have to fight them off. And then we're just going to keep on pushing and waiting for the United States, for the 13 colonies, to declare independence. And then we're going to fight the Revolutionary War as America. The moment has come at last. 13 Colonial War for Independence. All right. So they're at war with Great Britain. And let's see if they brought their ally France in with them. French Columbia, Revolutionary France. There it is. This is historically accurate. It is 30 years too soon. But like I said, we are going to go ahead and get prepared for this. Okay, Great Britain, it has been a good run. Let us exit to the main menu and start again. Now, we'll just roll with that little black screen as a slight intermediary there because we're shifting gears. So here's how we're going to play this, I think. We are going to start a new single player, and we are going to... Boy, they've got all these things in here. War of the Spanish Succession. I really should have done this. Okay, we are going to do American War of Independence. Now, this is what we look like. This is what we should look like. The United States, I guess technically, following the Declaration of Independence, they considered themselves the United States. You can see here Newfoundland. We did have that pretty well in our previous playthrough. But what we didn't have was a freaking-normous occupation of all of North America by Spain. Not historically accurate. What I'm not seeing here is New France, and I think that that's probably is historically accurate because that sort of ceased to be. France was basically sort of kicked off the continent during the I think it's the War for the Spanish Succession here, right? Okay, kind of curious. Let's just see what France looks like. Yeah, see, we got a lot of French presence here. Okay, not as much as I was talking about last time. But anyway, back to War of the America. And the other reason that I'm doing this is I wanted a way to switch countries. And if they had an option to basically say, hey, one of your colonies is declaring independence against you, would you like to play as them? I would have done it, even though it would have been very difficult. So instead, what we're going to do is cheat, because I'm a big-time cheater. And so we're going to start as the United States. Let's do this. So here we are as the United States. There's a lot of setup to be done, which is fine. Let's go ahead. I don't understand the difference between Federal Republic and American Republic. Same description, same allow, disallow. Different benefits. The Federal Republic gives us spy detection, diplomatic rep. This one gives us stability cost. I like this subtraction from monthly war exhaustion because we are not going to be at war. We are at war. We've begun. Independence has been declared on this date, July 4th, 1776. And hostilities actually began sooner than this, in 1775. But this was the day that independence was officially begun, or declared. This is our famous Independence Day, 4th of July, American independence. Now, like I said, hostilities began earlier, April 19th, 1775, the towns of Lexington and Concord. Okay, here it is. So, this is the place where it started. I guess technically you might say it might started in Boston with the Boston Massacre. But anyway, so we've got to do a little bit of setup. We're going to choose our native policy. This is just a mechanic. We're going to go ahead and choose trading. There was certainly native repression that occurred. There was violence on both sides, but the intention was to try and trade. So we're going to go ahead and roll with that. Build to force limit. Apparently we've done that already. And that's worth taking a look at because we have a maximum 38 land units, and we are up against Great Britain, who has significantly more. Okay. So this is historically accurate. The possibility of the United States winning this war was extremely low. Now, this is going to be difficult because the United States fought what George Washington called a battle of posts, which is where he defended around certain key areas, forts, as long as he could, and fell back. Now, in Roman terms, they call that a Fabian strategy, where it was trying to inflict as much damage upon them as you fell back without ever committing yourself to a huge, decisive, battle-winning battle. That did eventually happen, but only on better terms. So I'm bringing all that up because the way the war mechanics work is Philadelphia would be that place. This would be the hill to die on. And the British did take Philadelphia. So we can try and defend it as much as we want, but I think it's going to be rough to do that. So here's Pittsburgh. Where's Philadelphia? Okay, oh, I'm standing right on it. Okay. So yeah, okay, because this whole state here is basically, well, it's Pennsylvania, but the states are a little bit weird. So that's going to be challenging. We can fight a defensive war, but what we're definitely going to need is allies. And so let's take a look at that. Can we reach out to France and form an alliance with them? So the answer apparently is no. Oh, we're at war. And we can't form an alliance with France because we're at war? Well, that's kind of the point, actually. So this is somewhat odd. Now, are they guaranteeing us or anything like that? Royal marriage. Oh, you know what? We probably get something from a mission, I bet. Trustworthy allies. Okay. So, I'm gonna need to... Oh, wow. Okay, so this is really moving forward as America. All of this stuff is basically once we become independent. Okay, this is very interesting. I'm going to do a bit more research here, and let's see. Because really, we really need France. We really need France to come and help us win this war. Now, as we get started militarily, I have to confess I'm a little bit paralyzed here, especially after coming off of... playing Great Britain with such, powerful navies and armies and everything, and we've been really reduced. I mean, this is really kind of ridiculous. 40 combat width, and we only have enough for... We can't even field that many people. I mean, that's the front line. And so that's a little rough. I got 4 whopping cannons. Now, so this is worth talking about, that the American forces were really kind of pathetic for a few reasons. One, they were primarily just fielded as volunteers or conscripts from the various colonies, and they would have terms where it was like, oh, no, my 2 years are up, see ya, and out they went. So, additionally, they were poorly equipped, poorly trained. A lot of the soldiers didn't even have shoes to wear. Some of them would be barefoot, bare-chested, even. So, and they suffer from the weather, and so that was kind of brutal, actually. Now, one of the other things on the military side is you see we have 8 out of 2 generals. I mean, that's kind of... So, I want to get rid of a few. There's a few... I don't know a few of these names. Everybody knows George Washington, right? He was the commander-in-chief. We're going to keep him. And he ended up being the first president of the United States. everybody probably knows Benedict Arnold as the traitor, the guy who turned coat. Now, a guy that people probably don't know a lot by name is Nathanael Greene, and he is credited by George Washington as being the most skilled general that they have. Now, he's clearly not, because pretty much everybody is better than him. So I feel sad to do this, but we're going to give him the boot, literally. I'd love to see somebody who had strong siege, but we don't. And so I'm going to get rid of this guy because I don't know who he is. I do know who Charles Lee is. I do know who Horatio Gates is. I'm surprised Gates is less skilled than Lee is, but we'll go ahead and boot him for that reason. Wayne, I like this maneuverability. Now, I love the fact that George Washington has a super high maneuverability, because one of the things that Washington was sort of famous for, infamous if you were the British, is they could never pin him down. They could never catch him. So, we're going to... What are we going to do? We're going to keep Benedict Arnold because he's strong. And instead of a 3-3-4, he's a 3-4-4, so we're going to get rid of Thaddeus Kosciuszko. And who else? We'll get rid of Charles Lee. And I really think it just comes down to... You know what? Maybe we'll keep Anthony Wayne around and just take the extra -1 on the military power. Okay. No big deal there. But the real kicker is, what do we do now? We've only got... Might as well go ahead and put Washington in charge of this guy. We've only got 1 unit. That is rough. Because, I'm telling you, the British are coming. The British are coming. And they don't need to invade either. They can just basically land wherever they want. So that's going to be really tough. Now we have forts. Let's take a look at what our fort scenario is. Okay, so we're locked up on the north. Good. We're locked up on the south. Okay, this is also... Is 13 colonies... I don't want to do that. Is 13 colonies still under Britain? They are. Okay. That's good with our forts, though. I don't know how quote-unquote locked up we are here. But at least they wouldn't be able to march on... Or they'd have to pass through the mountains. So I might want to get another fort going. So again, we can do our kind of battle of posts. And frankly, what would be nice, even though it's probably not historically accurate, is if we could get a fort going on here at Philadelphia. I mean, that's a lot of money to save, though. Okay, I'm going to have to figure out how I want to spend our money. So we're starting off fairly advanced. I've already chosen a few. Importation Act, policy to improve our money, trade efficiency. On the administrative side, I'm going to go ahead and do Land Inheritance Act. I was liking the national tax modifier. Yeah, national manpower. Okay, and one of the reasons why I'm doing this too, and this comes back to the colonial days, not necessarily the revolutionary days, is, and I probably mentioned this in a previous video, but people were actually exported from Britain and given huge land grants. So there's some historical accuracy on that one. I am curious to see if any of these decisions might help us bring France in. I'm obsessed with France. I sure hope there's an event. Not seeing it. Okay, minus the capability to ally them because we're at war, I think really the best I'm going to be able to manage is just to start diplomacy with them, really. Where's relations? Let's go ahead and start. Oh, gee, great. Yeah, that's a little bit rough. And then what we're going to do is just really let the clock run. And I'm probably going to end up restarting this or something like that once Britain comes in and pounds on me. But let's see how we can do holding them off with just preventing an invasion here as best we can. Okay, here comes the first British unit. They have a fair amount less than we do, which is fine. Let's see if we can intercept them. I'm probably not going to be able to, nor terribly interested in performing any historical battles, because there's just not enough historicity going on here. Alright, where's this guy going to head to? Looks like he's going to head down to a fort, which is fine with me, unless he wants to meet up with his buddies. He's headed into Massachusetts. That is somewhat historically accurate. Alright, so I think we're going to be able to... Basically, we just did the siege of Boston. Okay. Alright, let's slow down, slow down, slow down. It's a lot of messages and everything like that. Alright, George Washington got, 13 colonies. Blah-de-de-blah. Okay, alright, another big delivery up here, and there's no way I'm going to keep up with that. We're at 7-11. They're at 23. Yeah, that's going to be tough. We'll go ahead. Again, America really had no ships whatsoever, so I'm not even gonna. I'm just gonna head in for the harbor, and see. Well, this guy's trying to blockade me, and so you know what? Again, I'm really just looking to win this war at this point. So I'm gonna head up north, not historically accurate, and try and cut this guy off, because he's looking to basically, like, rendezvous with his buddy, and I'm not about that. And, of course, they're playing Ring Around the Rosie. Okay, we just lost something. Yeah, you guys. Yeah, look at this. I mean, this just the British fleet was brutal and super historically accurate. So that's gonna be tough. I'm gonna roam around. Yeah, see, this is exactly what I knew they would. They basically just okay. Let's head back in and just see what we can do. Now we've got. They're not looking too good morale-wise, but now I've got a fort that would come in between me and them, so not terribly. See, that sucks. 32, 38. Oh, we gotta go all the way around. Awesome. Now, I'm not doing what I should be doing in fighting my battle of posts. I should be letting them try to fight me on forts, because I'm hoping that something... They're gone, of course, yeah. Alright, so we're just going to have to basically hunker down and fight these guys. Alright, let's come back in when there's a little bit more action. So my first time around, I was playing a little stupid. And just, like, charging people and being like, yeah, I'm going to kill you because I have more men than you. And then pretty soon, manpower runs out. And, you know, things just kind of went downhill from there. I was going to say, I don't know why I can't do that. So, what I've started doing is just doing a lot of running around, which is really kind of what happened, actually. And, trying to, you know, chase down opportunistic... So, basically, I used George Washington for his speed, and then Benedict Arnold for his, you know, strength. And so I'm just basically running around, running around. So here's this guy, like, trying to, take. But then you see that they come in and they, they split up and take all this stuff really quick. So I've got war score that's kind of ticking up because I've been able to hold Philadelphia. And so really I just come in and kind of do the same thing to them that they do while just kind of looking for my battles. Wherever I can fight a good, strong defensive battle. And then you can see now that this popped up probably on the other side of the country. Yeah, no big deal. It's a little annoying. And so basically now once I'm here, what I do is just probably what everybody does, which is split, and then heck, I'll just wait for good old George Washington to get in place. Split. And then you can see I'm on game speed 4, so things go pretty quickly. And, what's this? Oh, a diplomat, or an election. Okay. Gee, 114, 141, or 411. Or 212. 411, what is that, 6? And this is 5. So I guess let's roll with the military candidate at this point. Okay, I should stop this all. So then basically, it's like, alright, come back together, run to the other side of the country. Now, is this really the most exciting Revolutionary War content that there is? No. And I've seen some Reddit comments where people are saying, like, Great Britain didn't even show up. And actually, I've kind of seen the same thing. So anyway, here we are, and we're basically just going to run down to the other side of the country. In fact, we'll even speed 5 it up so he can get down there a little bit faster. Great Britain's opinion of the United States changed. Like, okay, if you say so. Alright, so let's pop this back down to 4. And... because as we get closer, I just want to make sure I don't do anything stupid. The reality is they're just going to run. And, off they go to their little ships. So, notice George Washington helped me out there a little bit. One of them was like, wait for me! And he's like, haha, I got you. So, basically, I just knocked off, like, 1 unit. Like, big whoop. So, originally... Okay, what do we got here? Oh, these people are just basically waiting to land again. Originally, again, what happened was my manpower just died. And then Britain's like, sweet, let's go in and take that. And that sucked. So really, in a way, I'm doing the war of posts, but really it's just a war of boredom. And so I've got 31 more of these to go. So you see, okay, there's a dude up here, like, looking to party. So, let's get on up there and see if... Now, in reality, what I should maybe do is just hang here near the fort, let them land. Again, these guys, right? Because they're just... They're coming. Alright, maybe once he's locked... Oh, is he locked in? We'll arrive in Savannah. Yeah, okay, cool. So he's locked in already. Alright, so we can head on down there. And let's just for giggles, go ahead and swap Benedict Arnold in. And so basically, because he's locked in, he'll come and land. And then, boop, that's it. Okay, off goes all your units. Okay, cool. And so, lather, rinse, repeat. So, an interesting little historical event here, the Congress of the Confederation. It's easy to forget or not know or not remember that the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776, really just severed America from Britain. America still had to learn how to govern itself, and in fact, our Constitution was not really put in place until 1789, which includes the 3 primary branches of government: the executive branch headed by the president, the legislative branch headed by Congress, and the judicial branch headed by the Supreme Court. So I'm not sure what this import duties event happens is, but I guess it's sort of like the representation of the first acts of Congress. The War of Independence left the country in serious debt. This is true. Federal debt, blah, 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 blah. And so what they did there was... one of the things we did to get out of debt was established our central banking system. Thank you, Alexander Hamilton, by the way. This is a little sad. We lost George Washington. Did he... I don't suppose he actually became the president, did he? No, Anthony Amherst is, whoever that is. We lost George Washington. He died wandering around the United States. A little alt history for you there, which kind of sucks. Anyway, so can we finish this thing yet? -20. Alright, it's going to be a while. Sorry, George. Okay, another historical event. 13 states ratified the Articles of Confederation. Now, again, this happened in... well, let's see here. Now, this was just the Articles of Confederation to direct the American Revolutionary War. Okay, a little backwards in time. Yeah. Okay, and we have it. Again, a little anticlimactic. We've got 0. I can basically do a white peace with Britain. And boom, the American War of Independence came to a draw. That's not completely true. Technically, we won the war. I think it was it the Battle of Yorktown or something like that was the really final and decisive battle. And that was where the general... I should have looked this up. Let me look it up real quick. Okay, General Cornwallis, and it was in 1781, gave up and surrendered his sword. That was customary, not just, in the time, but for all military leaders like this to basically say, you win. And so we are officially independent. Congratulations to the United States of America. Now, there's a lot of work to be done from here, but not a whole lot left for this video. This is, we're going to do some cleanup, some expansion. Now France wants to offer me an alliance. It was a little late, guys. We already won the war. Or drew the war. Alright, so technically we did enter into an alliance with France. We will go ahead and say yes to that. And then we win American independence as our mission. Ta-da! Alright, we're going to clean up here a little bit and start our expansion and progress as the United States of America for the remainder of this video. This final video for Europa Universalis, which will take us to 1836. So that's another 50 years from now. We're going to play through 50 more EU years and then end up in Victoria 3 as America. So let's keep going. A little bit of a course correction here. I thought we were going to wrap up Europa Universalis with this video. But a couple things. We have, apparently EU4 ends in 1821, which I guess is the death of Napoleon. So we'll go ahead and push towards that date. But also, all the India stuff and the Revolutionary War and everything kind of took me a bit longer to get through. So we're already kind of pushing an acceptable time limit for this. So rather than make this video extremely long, I think what we're going to do is cut it here, take a break, and do one final EU video before we move to Victoria 3, really about the growth and some of the issues facing the newborn United States. So let's go ahead and just stop, and thank you for watching. And we are now America. We are now the United States of America. We've got our little flag here. And I'll ask you to just come back next time, and let's kind of grow the nation a bit, talk about some of the issues that we're facing in the newborn country, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.